Hello everybody and welcome, I'm Son of Mogath. We're playing Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator today. I have an idea for a battle. You probably can tell from the video title that I will be reenacting a fictional version of the Battle of Thermopylae. Now, I won't preamble too much because it's probably going to be a long video. In other versions I've done of this, it was like a 45-minute fight. I'm going to keep it as short as possible. I may even do cuts in the battle to keep things at a reasonable length. It depends on how long it takes. So what I've done is I've come to the Jungle Island map. Yes, yeah, I know Sparta was a bit sparse. It was a bit Spartan when it came to jungles. But it's got some interesting terrain, this map. As you can see, I've got 5,500 Persians here, and I've got 300 Spartans here, lined up. This is a representation of the hot gates, as I'm sure you're all fairly familiar with. Now, this is more Persians than it would take to beat them. I tried this on an open field on a different map where I just put them like out in the open, and but because of the terrain it doesn't spawn all of them, so I had to bump the numbers up a bit to keep it, you know, accurate, I guess, to keep it decent. So I pressed the wrong button. Okay, here we are. We're just hovering awkwardly over the Spartans. Just let me show you these guys. Look, they're all lined up in this nice narrow opening here. They have a slight uphill incline to them. I'll explain later why I've deliberately done that. If we come over here, look, we have all the Persians in the world. There's how many did it spawn? 5,100. Yeah, that's a lot of bloody Persians. Look at them all. And as you can see, look, there's gaps here and along the edges here. It didn't spawn all of them. So I'm just gonna get this started while they run on in. It's going to be an interesting video. It's probably going to be mostly me waffling in your ears. So I do apologise for that if it's not the most interesting. I just think it's a good thing to do with this as a game. Reenact the 300. I tried this on other maps and it didn't work out so well, which brings me to why I've done this here, put them on an upward slope. As you notice, look, when these guys come in, they'll get killed and the bodies pile up, as we've seen in other videos. Now, the pile actually gets so high in places that it creates like a cliff edge, where the Persians just treat it as that, as a cliff edge, and so do the Spartans, and both armies stop attacking. It'd be like if I put a bunch of, like, if I put all the Persians... Oh my god, the frame rate is messing with the camera. If I put all the Persians up here, they would just sit up there, and the Spartans would just sit down here. Which is why I've done this. As the bodies pile up, this gradient of land allows the fight to continue. I've not done it specifically on this map. I did it on other maps. But yeah, here we go. What I'm going to do is, because this is such a long fight, I'm actually going to play it in double speed. The noise that it makes is fairly intolerable, and I apologise for that. What I'll do is, in editing, I'll push the volume on it down. I'm making a downwards motion with my hand as we speak, knowing full well that you can't see it. So if I just press P, I have to listen to all these guys moan and grunt and shout and do their thing. You guys should be able to only just hear it. So, yeah, this is an interesting battle to recreate. because there's a lot of myth, there's a lot of misconception about this this battle, the Battle of Thermopylae, fictionally recreated in the film The 300, which I think is a Zack Snyder film. Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't look it up beforehand, I should have done. But one of the misconceptions is that 300 Spartans fought off 1,000,000 Persians. Now, 1,000,000 is ridiculous. There was nowhere near 1,000,000 Persians at the battle. It was somewhere between 100 and 200,000. Some say, like, as much as 150,000, and some say it was only just 100,000. The numbers are pretty spotty, and it depends on which scholar you read the works of in regards to how many Persians there were. Needless to say, there were not 1,000,000 Persians. That would have been a vast proportion of the entire population of Sparta at the time. Not Sparta, Persia. It would have been a significant proportion of the Persian population at the time. And yeah, there were not 300 Spartans at the battle either. I mean, there were 300 Spartans, but there were also more Spartans, and there were also Athenians and Corinthians and a bunch of other people. There was about, I think, if memory serves, there were about 8,000 in number across various, like city-states, which is how ancient Greece did their thing back in the day. The 300 that the battle is famous for were just people that stayed behind to cover the retreat of the rest of the army when the Persians were helped by a local who betrayed the Greeks. They got their armies behind the Greek lines of defence, which is this essentially. For instance, I don't know if there is a path here. If they ran up and over here, yeah, like this, and then came down here and all the way back down here to attack here, that's what would have been more historically accurate. Now, when they realised this was happening, they sent the vast majority of the troops they had away from the battle, and the 300 stayed to cover their retreat and were resoundingly trashed. But yeah, one of the most famous military manoeuvres of all time. Yeah, well, while I was waffling, look, you can see the thing that I said was going to happen has started to happen. I need to turn it down. I'm sorry, this is intolerable. There we go, that's a little bit better. As you can see, look, the bodies have piled up, look. Squidgy, bloody death. Look at them. They're so piled in, they don't have a clue what to do. Let's have a look in regards to the numbers. So the Spartans have lost about 50, but the Persians have lost nearly 1,000. That's like a fifth of their total number. It's it's a hell of a thing. If we do a flyover, look how many Persians there still are. Look, there's a lot, isn't there? There's a lot of bloody Persians here today. These guys are doing a damn good job, aren't they? It's only 7 PM on the first day already. The battle's nowhere near over. If we get a little bit closer. I'm not great with the camera, you may have noticed. There we go. Yeah, another kind of, I don't want to really call it a myth, but maybe a misconception of the Spartans was this style of battle wear, where they were bare-chested and bare-legged and just had a helmet and a shield. That, for the most part, would be largely inaccurate. They actually would have had like a big, probably bronze breastplate that would have been significantly heavy. They would have had what they call them, greaves, to cover the legs, and they would have had plates on their arms and probably shoulders as well. It wouldn't have been light. It would have been, I don't want to specifically put a number on it, it would have been about 80 pounds in weight of armour. It wouldn't have, like I say, it wouldn't have been light. It's not like the famous kind of medieval knight image where they were in chainmail and leather and full plate armour, you know, with their swords and their big tower shields, and you know that weighed probably as much as the person did. It would have been a lot lighter than that, but it still wouldn't have. But that, especially the front lines, would definitely have not been bare-chested. From what I remember, I did a project on it in school, and then when the film came out, I was like, I don't remember reading about any of this stuff happening, and I went and looked up again, and I've forgotten so much since then. But it's definitely a battle that interested me, especially when I was younger, you know, when I was into me fighting fantasy books by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. I was playing a lot of Warhammer and some Blood Bowl at the time, and I read lots of fantasy books, lots of, you know, battles and wars and things like that. So it's definitely, you know, something that interested me as a military manoeuvre. And I think between that and the Horse of Troy, I mean, among the most famous of military manoeuvres, when you say to someone, oh, name one of the most famous military manoeuvres of all time, you either get the 300, which again is a bit of a myth, but we'll forgive people for that, or you get the Horse of Troy, which is also surrounded in like myth and misconception, but again, it's so interesting to read about. If you haven't, I suggest you do, even if you're not really that interested in historical accuracy. They're actually really great to read about. It's really interesting. Very, very interesting to me, but I'm kind of into that stuff, so let's get down into the battle here and see. Almost 100 Spartans have bit the bullet so far, but the Persians have lost nearly 2,000. That's bordering on half, not quite half. It's it's really interesting to me the way these battles play out. I have to admit, I kind of passed up on playing this game as much as more than maybe I should have in the past, because I didn't really find it that interesting. I love the crazy derpiness of Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, and I think that overshadows this a little bit. This isn't as funny as maybe that game is, but I've been having quite a good laugh with this recently. I've been playing it like on and off and trying different things out, and yeah, I'm going to be doing more videos on it, needless to say. It's a bit weird to watch at double speed, but like I say, without it, this would be between 35 and 40 minutes. And I wish I was getting between 30 and 40 on the frame rate. Can you see it in the top left-hand corner? We're below 20. It's pretty rough. Pretty rough. I did try and tweak the amount of Persians, and that was one thing I actually had a lot of trouble with in trying to make this video, because when I first tried it out, I had my 300 Spartans. That was kind of a given, but the amount of Persians that I spawned in were just annihilated. They just got obliterated. So I vastly bumped up the amount of Persians so that they could win a fight in open battle in a way that they won it comfortably, but not overwhelmingly. That might not sound like it makes sense, because then I had the problem with, if I spawned in say 2,000 Persians, they'd lose. If I spawned in, I think 5,000, they'd win. But they'd win no matter what the situation was. It doesn't matter the terrain or the attack, you know, the front of attack. Like, this is a very narrow front attack. If it was wider, they would always win. So I kind of tweaked it down as best I could to an amount where the Persians could lose if the Spartans did really very well for themselves. But I don't know how this specific one is going to go. Like I say, I tried it on several maps, and this pile of bodies just ruined the whole thing. You can see, like, if I come down a little bit here, you take the head level of these Persians, they're actually almost as high as the Spartans are uphill from them. It's I don't know, it's crazy. This pile of bodies is so massive, it actually turns into a cliff. They are starting to come around the side a little bit, which is interesting. They've lost essentially half their troops now, the Persians, but the Spartans have lost just under half of theirs, so it's going about evenly at the moment. Let's do a flyover, shall we? See how the Persians are doing in the back. Yes, Bob, as you can see, we're doing a flyover of the Persian forces now. These 4 derp heads don't know what a hill is or how to manage it, but news just coming in is that the Persians are in fact still here. You wouldn't know just by looking down. You'd have to take a really close look like Son of Mogev just did. I'm sorry. Sorry, I've just had a mental breakdown in the middle of a recording. I couldn't help myself. I apologise. Let's go for a dive underneath the bodies. Look, they start back here somewhere. Look, about here. Let's see if I can find the floor. Look, right. Okay, this is all bodies. Look, you can still see the floor. Hey, here's a good bit. Look, I found a hollow section where I can crawl under and breathe. Look, if I see if I can level the camera out, if I just go up, look, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like between 8 and 10 bodies deep, and that's downhill. You know, what's it going to be like when they level out? Now that I say it, look, oh god damn, oh, I'm bad at camera. These Persians here, if you look at their heads, are higher than these Spartans are, and these guys are at the top of the damn hill. These guys aren't on a hill. I guess they are on an upwards incline of a hill, but they should be lower, and they're not. They're on a pile of bodies of their former comrades. That's not a great word to describe it, but allies. They stood on the fallen allies. This is absolutely insane. The Spartans have now lost more than half of their number. But the Persians have lost, what, 3/5 of their people? The Spartans are actually doing much better than I'd given them credit for. This may turn out to be a historically inaccurate reenactment of the 300, especially if the Spartans win. That's not really how that went. Although, you know, Greece as an allied nation of city-states did go on to win the war. I think that was like 10 years after this, the Battle of Thermopylae. It's again, it's all really very interesting. It's a lot to read about, and I strongly suggest you do it. As I mentioned previously, it's there was a lot going on. There really was a lot going on. Makes me wonder if they hadn't been portrayed, how the battle would have gone. You know, if it had gone any better. Who was it that betrayed him? Ephialtes, wasn't it? Which is a great name. I don't know why more people don't have names like that for their kids. I mean, I was reading about a kid whose parents called it hashtag. Nah, screw that. Call your kid Ephialtes. That's a great name. Not the best historical connotations that go along with it, but, you know. You go ahead and do what's good for you, I guess. Look at these guys. Look, these guys back here. Sorry, I got completely distracted then. As it happens, my short attention span gets the best of me in these videos. These guys are, like, almost an entire person higher than the Spartans are. They're actually running out of hill. Once things start to go flat here, the Persians are going to be fighting downhill on the Spartans, when it should be the other way around. I don't know why that amuses me the way it does. It does. You may have noticed. We're at 6 PM now on our... Is this the second day? Or is it the third day? I think it's the second day now. Which is actually also fairly accurate. I think, if I remember correctly, the Greeks held off the Persian invasion on two fronts. There was the guys on the ground at the hot gates, and there was the navy elsewhere that I don't remember the name of currently, and they held off a vastly superior force for, I think, 3 days. Be interesting to see if this battle goes on for 3 days. I kind of wish I could turn the day-night cycle off. It messes with the brightness and whatnot, but so this is a struggle. I'm trying to keep the camera in a good place, but as I say, the frame rate is not brilliant. It started off bad, and with all the bodies piling up, it just gets worse and worse and worse. It also gets funnier for some reason. I don't know really what's wrong with me. I find things funny that aren't funny. I think that's why people think I'm weird and creepy. Which I'm alright, people can think that. You know, I don't blame them. I am a little bit weird and creepy, but it's you see, it's getting dark, and that annoys me because it's harder to see. Let's have a look at the numbers. The Spartans are down to their last 100 people. They've lost, what, 2/3 of their number. They started just short of 300. Those guys, you know, twisted their ankles this morning, and they're just going to have a bit of a lay down and put their feet up and make sure they're all right for the battle when it ends. You know, they can just join in the back in the back row here. Those, was it 4 or 5 people? It's fine. They've got 3 days to recover from their busted ankles. I'm sure the rest of the Spartan army getting murdered en masse won't mind at all. I'm sure that they won't be mad. Let's have a look. Yes, the Spartans are in fact less than 100 in number now. There's over 1,000 remaining Persians. Ooh, it's kind of rough on them, isn't it? I was under the impression that these Spartans might actually show me up and win. I'm not convinced of that now. Jesus Christ, look at all the bodies. Look, these guys tried to come round the side and paid the price for their stupidity. Although that's what they should be doing. They should have these guys run up the... Oh God, I made things so much worse. Run up the side here and crowd in this section here, and if they can, get in behind, but the AI doesn't allow for that. I wouldn't mind seeing that added, actually, being able to control groups of troops. Like, if I click and, say, select this lot or that lot down there to tell them to advance up to this section. Or just change the command for the Spartans and order them to attack. I've had them set at defense, so let's do another flyover, shall we, of the Persians. See how many they've got in reserve. It's still a lot, isn't it? Oh, the frame rate's coming back a little bit. Oh, the joy. They're not, I mean, they were all the way back here, weren't they? I think. No, it was back here. This is where the 4... Oh, look, they're still here, look. The 4 derps. These guys fell and hit their heads on the way here or something, because they're clearly brain damaged. I hope that doesn't mess up the fight as a whole. I hope they work it out and get to run round, because if they get stuck here forever, the battle will never end. If that happens, what I might do is grab a Spartan, possess him, and bring him round here, see if I can polish him off on my own. That might be fun to do. This guy has a straight path uphill and can't manage it. These guys are slowly filtering their way down, although they seem to want to try and climb the mountain. Sorry guys, FELTs has not done his thing. You will not know where the path is to outflank the Spartans. You are done. That's it, just come and join the rest of them. There we go. Not the smartest of people. The Spartans are now fighting uphill on a downward incline. There isn't many of them left, though. There's only 50 of them left. Just over. But there's only, less than 500 Persians. So many are dead. So many. I mean, I've been complaining about the bodies. It's fairly obvious that a lot of Persians are dead, but this is beyond the joke, really, isn't it? Let's have a dive again, shall we? Hold your breaths. This is gonna smell bad. Yeah. Well, we found the floor. Look, that was bad camera work on my point. Oh god, it doesn't help the frame rate either, I guess, because it has to render a lot more. Let me see if I can get it in a good position where we can see what's going on and it's not, you know, the worst thing in the world. There we go, that's not too bad. I can get almost 30 frames a second. And down to our last 50 Spartans. But again, we're down to the last couple of 100 Persians as well. Like, what was it? Was it 100 Spartans took out 2,500 Persians? I think the Spartans might actually win this, which is not how this is supposed to go. Although it does kind of prove a point. Like I said, I spent a lot of time tweaking the numbers of the Persians so that they would win comfortably, but also could lose under certain circumstances. I guess this was one of those circumstances. They should have been able to win fairly easily. In some of the previous like practice matches, I guess, practice battles that I did, the Persians won with, sometimes it was like 200 people left and sometimes it was 400. They're beyond that now. I might actually just put this in regular, take it out of slow-mo and put it in regular mo. Just so we can watch these last few Persians meet their end. I mean, there's less than 10 of them now. Yeah, there's 4 Persians left and they're not keen, they're not like particularly keen on getting to the battle. Is it the 4 derps? It is, look. We've got the 300 Spartans and the 4 derps. Alright, so let me do this. I have not used the possession much on this, so it's a good opportunity for me to do so. Let's get someone fresh out the back here. Open order unit menu. I didn't know you could do this. Alright, let me try that. V... rally. They don't appear to be moving. That's interesting. V. Attack target. They also do not appear to be moving. What's the point of having a unit order? On me. No? Do I have to be closer? Or are they just stuck? On me. Is that because I ordered them to defend, they're not going to move? Alright, I'll go do it myself then. Yes, son of Mogeth wins the Battle of Thermopylae. Whada! Oh, I accidentally unpossessed him. Oops. My bad. So where were those guys? Come on, come on. There's one. Hey, Mr. Derp. You killed soldier. Okay. Nice text there, devs. I killed soldier. Yes. Oh, why? I tried to walk backwards and turned around. Okay, they've got one left. Can he beat me? It would seem not. The Spartans are victorious. Oops. So, yeah, that's weird. That none of that command stuff worked. I didn't even know you could do it. But there we go. The Battle of Thermopylae. Reenacted. Not entirely accurately. Because this is not totally accurate Battle Simulator. This is Epic Battle. No, Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator. And that was a fairly epic battle. You might be able to tell from the gigantic pile of dead people and the complete lack of frame rate. I mean, look at that. That's horrendous. Absolutely absurd. But let me just pop back to the menu. Oh, oh no, I thought it crashed then. It made a weird noise, like twice, like it was going to drop out to the desktop. But there you go, the Battle of Thermopylae, reenacted by yours truly. I hope you guys enjoyed watching the battle as it is, and listen to me waffle about the battle and the differences between what I remember as being something that happened as opposed to, you know, the fictional version of things. And let me know in the comments section what you think. If you want to see more battles like this, and if you have your suggestions, make those in the comments section as well. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe if you didn't do that already. Don't subscribe if you've already subscribed, because it will unsubscribe you. You could make another account and subscribe on that one. Do that 4,000 times each, and I'll be a happy Mogeth until the end of my days. Also, yeah, don't do that. That's not a good thing to do. Just don't listen to me waffle. What you should do is enjoy the video and come back tomorrow for 2 Video Tuesday. You should do both those things. Until that happens, I'll see you soon.